Hi, Terry here, and welcome back to Times Gone Tech. Today, I'm going to conduct another waterproofing test for homemade percussion caps for use with antique muzzle loaders. Now, the last time, if you remember, I tried three materials, three or four. Anyway, I painted them on with a paintbrush. There's four. I tried shellac, hairspray, some stuff I'm calling camp dry, which I'll get into later in the test. I'll explain what that really is, and Thompson's water seal. I just painted some in with a paintbrush, let it dry, and then I tried them out. And they were all pretty much total failures. So I had this idea, well, maybe I'm just not getting enough. So I went back and I made up another batch. And this time I put a drop, small drop with an eyedropper of each one of these materials in each one of these sets of caps. So, and I also added two more materials. I added some of my own nitrocellulose lacquer, and that's just a drop of lacquer added on top of the original drop that I added to cure the primer out. And then acrylic nail polish, and which was actually suggested by a viewer, just a generic acrylic. There's two types. There's a shellac and acrylic. Use the acrylic. That's what I'm going to be testing today. And actually, another one. I had a few caps left over, so I made up four using Vaseline just to see what happens, just for grins and giggles, right? So I also had another very good suggestion from a viewer, and that was that I should fire off a dry cap without exposing it to water from each set as I shoot them, just to verify that the material that I'm using for the water seal isn't itself inhibiting the caps. So I made up seven this time instead of six. And that first one, or maybe the seventh one, is the control. And it's a good thing that I did because actually I've already ran the test. I'll be back with the conclusion. And it's a good thing I did because one of these materials completely failed right up front. I mean, all seven caps completely failed before I even exposed them to water. Spoiler alert, don't use Thompson's water seal. It don't work. So let's get started with the testing. First up, hairspray. Okay, this is the hairspray group, and this is the control shot. No water. Okay. Well, it fired. Just had to cycle it again. Okay, now let's dunk one for interesting. That one blew the cap apart. That was a good bang. Huh. Let's repeat that one. No, now let's cycle it through. No. No. Okay, so that one's a failure. No. And it came off with the hammer. And primer compound gummed up the needle or the nipple. Okay, that worked very powerfully, actually. Some success, actually, with the hairspray. Some of them dunked in water and shot. Well, actually, they all did when they recycled, except one. Only one completely failed to shoot. Two, I think. I'll go look at that on the replay. Very interesting. Okay, let's try another round. Well, kind of worked. I'm gonna I'm gonna call that one a no shoot. Again, kind of, sort of, but we're gonna say no fire. And a no shoot. Okay, now the two silicone sealants. This first one, the Thompson's water seal. This is the control. No. No. Let's try one more time just to make sure. No. Okay. So let's try another one. No. Okay, so it looks like, starting to anyway, that maybe the Thompson's water seal is simply inhibiting them from shooting, period. And I dropped one. Okay, so there it is. I think that's the one. Maybe it's the other one that I dropped, but I don't know. Correction, 4 failures in a row. Okay, number 6 fail, or now number 7. So it looks like for a primer or a percussion cap, Thompson's water seal is the kiss of death. Let's go to the next silicone sealer and use the Camp Dry. And when I call it Camp Dry, that's a brand that I used to buy many, many years ago. This is some Walmart stuff. It actually doesn't even have a brand name on it, but it's for waterproofing fabrics like your tent, this shirt, a bed sheet. Turn a bed sheet into a tarp. Spray it with some of the water sealer. So I put a drop of that into the cap. So let's try this one out. Okay, the control shoots. Hey. Okay. So the plan going forward is I'm going to soak one for 10 seconds and then shoot it. So I'll be back once that's soaked, blown off, dried, and put back on the gun. 10 seconds soaking in water. Wow. Okay, let's soak one for 30 seconds and I'll be back. Generic Camp Dry from Walmart. 30 seconds soaking in water. Yeah. Wow. Let's soak one for 1 minute. And while that's soaking, this is what I'm using. It's ATSCO, A-T-S-K-O, since 1933, water silicone guard. Got it at Walmart again. Only one application needed: suede, leather, cotton, canvas, nylon, and all synthetic fabrics. Silicone, 100% silicone. Silicone water guard. Okay, my minute's about up. Let's go try that other cap. Camp guard, water guard, whatever you want to call it. Silicone water guard. 1 minute soaking in water. And I'm not letting it float on top like a boat. I'm making sure that it's sideways and down in the water. Okay. Okay, that one failed. Cap came off with it. Primer came out with it. So let's try 30 seconds again. 30 seconds, hand counted-ish. Let's do another one. Very interesting. No water, nail polish. This is a generic acrylic, not the shellac, the acrylic nail polish. Okay. Nail polish dunked in water. Okay, nail polish, acrylic nail polish, soaked in water for 10 seconds. Okay, acrylic nail polish soaked in water for 30 seconds. Clear acrylic nail polish soaked in water for 1 minute. I think we got a winner here. Okay, I've got 7 more to test using nitrocellulose lacquer. I'm going to soak one during that entire test, however long that takes. Okay, got 1 cap left with the nail polish. And if you're curious about one, I'm not letting these things float on top. I'm making sure they're sideways, as I said before, and underwater. It is possible that one or occasionally an air bubble could get in there, and the powder itself isn't even getting in contact with water, which could explain why 1 out of 6 might work on some of these that I tested. Maybe it just didn't actually get wet. 6 out of 6 so far, 5 out of 5. We're going to go for 6. So let's see what happens. And in the meantime, while that last cap is soaking, the control for the nitrocellulose lacquer. All right. So an extra coat of lacquer actually seems to make it a little louder, a little more powerful. Okay, so I'm going to dunk one in water and see what it does. Let's try another one. Blew the cap completely off. 30 seconds. Soaked in water, 1 minute. This is that generic camp dry. Soaking for several minutes. I didn't time it, but several minutes. Now, let's try recycling it around. No. Okay, well, one more time. Okay, so we can say after 1 minute we start getting failures, but cans get wet soaking water up to 1 minute in direct contact with water. Huh. Let's try the other one. Okay, this is nitrocellulose lacquer after 2 minutes in water. Two minutes, nitrocellulose lacquer. Every bit as energetic as no exposure to water at all. In fact, the cap completely disintegrated. It just blew that cap completely off. And that's after soaking in water. Let's try the other one now. And this one has been soaking for several minutes. Let's try it out. All right. So what kind of conclusions can we draw from these? Well, one, as you can see, I still got that orange staining I'm having to deal with, which is why I'm looking for a replacement for antimony. I know this may not bother some people, but it's just, I stay up nights. I stay up nights fuming about this, just fuming and foaming and cursing about this stain. So that's going to go away one way or another. As far as waterproofing the percussion caps go, first of all, it's been my personal experience that the biggest problems that I have with cap and ball revolvers and moisture is not the powder. It's not the black powder in the powder chamber. It's the caps. Whenever I have carried out in the rain or in high humid conditions, and then I go to shoot, the caps fail. I replace the caps and the powder works just fine. So the old phrase, keep your powder dry, with cap and ball is probably more correct to say keep your caps dry. And I know I could go to a lot of trouble like paint Vaseline or wax or nail polish or whatever around the nipples, or cut a piece of aquarium water hose and stick on there. But that's not what I want. What I want is a percussion cap that I can make up 100 caps, okay, put them in a tin. I'm out in the rain, I can take one out, I can load it, and I can shoot it. I seem to have gotten that with the generic camp dry, the nail polish, and the lacquer. At least direct exposure to water for up to 1 minute, more than a minute, several minutes, with at least with the lacquer. So yeah, I think we're onto something here. Painting doesn't work, spraying doesn't work. Didn't for me anyway. If it does for you, great, go for it. I tried it, it didn't work. Putting a drop in from an eyedropper after it's cured for 24 hours, letting that cure for another 24 hours works. I've got my water repellent. Okay, that's it. That's all my percussion cap testing for today. I've got 3 options. I'm going to look at the playback, see which one worked the best, and that's the one I'm going to go with. But it looks like the silicone works. That particular brand, Thompson's Water Seal, does not. So that's my video for today. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.